Okay, question number 1. What is your full name?
Martha. You want to know married or single?
Both.
Well, this is Martha, Jane, Connor. I started saying Broeder, but that wouldn't be right. I forgot my last name.
Bomansky?
Yeah, Bomansky. And what am I now? My married name?
Connor.
Yeah, Connor. That's got it.
Do you know why your parents named you Martha Jane?
They probably ran out of names after 6 kids.
You weren't named after any relatives or anything?
I think I was named after somebody in a storybook. My sister named me Martha Jane after somebody in a storybook, but I don't know who it was.
Oh, your sister named you?
Uh-huh.
Oh, your older sister?
Yeah, my older
Obviously,
sister.
I guess.
She was 10 years older.
Did you ever have any nicknames?
No,
As a
not
girl?
really, huh?
Except for Memaw?
Just for Memaw.
And Memaw, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Till it became Memaw.
Yeah.
Okay, where and when were you born?
I was born in 1915, January the 17th, 1950, and 15 in Bryan, Texas.
Like Bryan College Station?
Uh-huh.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And did y'all have anything to do with Texas A&M there, or you just happened to live there?
We just lived there. Had a farm there and farmed, raised cotton and corn and all that stuff.
Cool.
And had your family lived there a long time, or?
Well, no, I guess they lived there about as long as old as I was then, which was 0, I guess.
Where did they come from? Like, where was he born, your dad?
He was born in, let's see, probably in Bremond, 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 Texas, and my mother, I don't know where she was born in Mexia, Mexia.
Oh, yeah. And what were their names?
Their name was Bomansky. Well, Mama's was Shack.
Shack?
Matysiak.
They were both. Those are both Texas towns they were born in.
Yeah.
So you're Texan to the bone.
Yeah, Texan to the bone.
What were their first names? Your dad's name?
It was John.
And what was your mom's?
Kate.
And where did they meet? Do you know?
I don't know, because first I heard of them was when I was a baby. That was in Bryan, Texas. I don't know where they were born.
But they'd had a lot of siblings before you, right? Because you were.
Yeah, they had. Let's see, they had 5 before me, because there was 6 kids.
And so were you kind of raised by your siblings mostly, like your?
No, I was just kind of running around there by myself. They were always working in the fields, and then when I got to where I was, my daddy thought I was old enough to work, pick cotton. Well, he told me that he thought I was big enough now I could pick cotton. I said, no, I'm too little.
How old were you?
I was about 4 or 5, I guess, a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, is it easier to pick cotton when you're low to the ground like that?
No, it's so easier. So anyway, I said, no, I'm too little. So he reached out and pulled up one of those cotton stalks, where cotton raised, came on. And he swished me about twice across the legs. And boy, I picked cotton the rest of the day. He didn't hurt me or anything, but I was scared of that switch,
Was your dad nice, or was he kind of a scary?
Nice. Yeah, well, he was. I guess he was. Well, he was kind of the boss, all right, but I wasn't afraid of him or anything like that.
But were you more of a daddy's girl or a mama's girl?
Mama's girl.
Mama's girl. Did she teach you to sew?
I guess she did, kind of. I just sort of picked it up, I love to sew better than anything. I couldn't wait to get the kids off to school in the morning so I could go in there and sew.
Huh.
That's how well I like to sew.
Because I have Mama showed me some pictures, and she's like, Memaw sewed that outfit for you. She sewed that outfit for Courtney, and that outfit for you. Like, all my young outfits you sewed for me.
I used to sew all the time. I just love to sew.
Let's see what we got here. What kind of house? What was your house like on the farm? Was it just like a farmhouse? Did it have electricity?
You want to really see what my house looked like?
Uh-huh.
I got a picture in here if you want to see
Okay,
it.
yeah.
It doesn't have any paint. The inside of it wasn't painted, wasn't wallpapered. It was just, well, I think we had newspapers on the wall, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, we were pouring dirt for.
Did it have electricity and plumbing?
No, well, no, no electricity and no plumbing.
So was there an outhouse?
Yeah, we had an outhouse, and then when it got dark, we'd just go outside, just squat, where
Really?
Uh-huh.
What about when it's cold, like the winter?
Well, did anybody even notice it? They didn't pay attention. If it was cold or not, we'd just run out there and get back in. Let me go get that picture.
Okay. So, did you guys have a telephone?
No.
Ever?
Oh,
not even like a party line when you were a kid?
Not while we lived in the country, we didn't.
So if you wanted to talk to somebody, you had to go over there in person?
We had to either go, well, I don't think anybody out in the country had a phone.
Uh-huh. Did you guys have a car?
Yeah, we had an old car. You'll see, if you look in there, you'll see it was an old two-seater.
Uh-huh.
That's what we started out with.
Was it like a crank car kind of in the front?
Yeah, sure did. You crank it with a crank,
Uh-huh. And did y'all have horses?
Oh, yeah.
Did you ride a horse?
Yeah. But just one time that I can remember, because I was afraid, I'd get hurt,
Uh-huh. But that you didn't ride, like, no, your dad wouldn't, like, ride those around to other neighbors or anything?
No,
He would drive?
No, they was mostly work horses,
Yeah. And what, did y'all just raise cotton, or was there animals?
No, we raised cotton. We raised corn, and we raised, what else? Just about everything you could think of, we raised. And your mama had a garden.
Mm-hmm.
And what else did we have? I can't remember anything else. I remember when it was time to gather the corn, the boys would get out. You have to pull the corn off the stalk, break it off, and throw it in the wagon,
Mm-hmm.
Well, they accidentally would hit me in the head about every 3 times and break the corn off,
So how much older were your brothers than you?
Well, my sister was 10 years older, and they were older than she was,
Mm-hmm. So was it fun-loving, or was it annoying, like, that they were doing this to you?
They were just playing with me, but it kind of hurt sometimes.
Uh-huh.
But I was a baby, see, and
what were your siblings' names?
Well, the oldest was named Lewis. He was oldest, and then Lewis and Phil and Lawrence and Wallace.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister's name was Ann.
And which of your siblings were you closest to?
I guess my sister.
Mm-hmm. That's fun. Man, so what made your parents have you so much later than all the other kids?
Accidental.
Really?
Yeah. Sure, it was accidental.
They told you that?
Well, they didn't tell me, but I figured that out.
Yeah. So I mean, you were just the baby of the family. I bet you got all the attention.
Well, yeah, kinda. You didn't really get a lot of attention from anybody. You just was there,
Uh-huh.
Oh, shoot.
Did you have any kids your age nearby the farm that you could play with?
No.
So who would you play with? Anyone?
Oh, well, just my girl I went to school with, she lived down the road from me, and
Mm-hmm.
she had a horse. She had one of those Shetland ponies. And she'd come by and pick me up some days, but that Shetland pony was temperamental. Oh, boy.
Mm-hmm.
If there was anything, they were grading the road or anything with a tractor,
Mm-hmm.
he would pitch me off every time.
Oh, man.
You would hit the ground, well, you used to land on your feet, because he was, I guess my feet were about that far from him, because he was so little, so short,
Mm-hmm.
And she'd come over and visit with me sometimes.
What was her name?
Inez.
Inez.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you went to school, what year was that year when you first went to school?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. You have to figure that out.
Like early 20s?
Probably so.
And it was a one-room schoolhouse?
That was one room, and then later on after about a year, I think we got a 2-room school.
And how many kids probably were there in the school?
Ooh, I don't know. It was a room full,
Mm-hmm.
but not too terribly many, but quite a few.
Do you remember your teacher's name?
Well, let's see. Mr. Anton, he was the one that he'd take any crap off me, I'll tell you.
Mr. Anton? That's impressive.
He would always make me do things, he acted like I was dumb, and I don't know. He like everybody else was related to him but me.
Really?
So I was kind of a sore thumb in the bunch, you know.
So is Brian kind of like that area, kind of like one big Anton family clan, and
No,
you guys are there?
all nationalities lived there, you know. And we lived like I think 5 or 6 miles out of town, so we didn't live too far out.
Was your mom also Polish? And was it like a Polish community, or y'all just happened to be Polish?
Well, I don't think it was, because it was some Bohemians that lived. This is Baidon Broeder. This is the little boys here.
All right, let's see these guys.
Come on in, y'all. Come on in.
And here we are.
Well, we interviewed me.
Greetings. Feel free to chime in with any questions at any time, Robby.
That's pretty thorough.
Let's see. Did we already ask you, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Earliest childhood memory, let's see. I don't know, maybe when my brother fell out of the persimmon tree.
Oh, really? Did he hurt himself?
Well, he knocked the breath out of himself. You know, we had these beautiful persimmons that grew in our yard. So everybody else was in the house and we were outside. And he was trying to get us some persimmons because they were so good, you know. Just because you could eat the whole fruit and just spit the seed out. So, of course, I think he stepped on a limb and it broke and he hit the ground. And when he did, it knocked the breath out of him. So he was just laying there, just rolling around trying to get his breath back, you know, on the ground. And I kept saying, "Are you dead? Are you dead? Are you dead?" But he wasn't dead. So about he came to and he got up. And
When was the last time you ate a persimmon?
probably then.
Well, you
You
know
should
what's
have one.
funny is I asked her that same question a while back, like months ago, and she told me that story about a persimmon tree, and I said, "What is a persimmon?" And she told me, and I said, "Well, I'm gonna have to find one of these persimmons and try one." Then a girl in California about a month ago gave me a persimmon on my birthday. She said, we grew this at my house," and I just now put 2 and 2 together that I ate what you were talking about.
Was it
It's
good?
Good too.
Yeah,
wasn't
it was good. A little
If they're
orange,
right.
little orangish.
If they're right, they're good.
Did you have any favorite toys as a kid or anything? Did you have toys?
We didn't have toys. All I had was what my sister would make me. You know, she would make me a doll bed. You know, just out of little pieces of wood, and, or she'd make me a doll and stuff like that. And then one time, my brother made me a cabinet, a kitchen cabinet. You know, he built it just real.
For you to like play?
And
Kitchen.
so I loved it so much. But my cousin came over there and she liked it too. She had a nickel. So she said, "I'll give you a nickel for that cabinet." So I took it. I took the nickel and gave her the cabinet. Now, wasn't that dumb?
Well,
Nickel was worth a lot back then, right?
No, not anything with that cabinet. It was a handmade little cabinet, you know.
so what was your cousin's name?
Lois.
And where did she live?
She lived about, I guess 3 miles up the hill or 2 miles, something like that, you know.
Did you have a lot of extended family nearby like that?
No,
Just them? Let's see. Did y'all have any games that you played when you were growing up?
no.
Nothing like were sports played, like any of your brothers or anything?
Well, they probably played baseball or something like that, but I don't remember whether they did or didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think they did.
So what did you do for fun as a little girl? Like, did y'all
Well, we had
go to the
I think I
movies
had
or anything?
Jacks. I played jacks.
Uh-huh.
You know what jacks are, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
And we would go, well, not then. After we got to be older, we would go to the movie on Saturday sometimes, or on Sunday, you know.
Was there a movie theater in Bryan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it like one of those big marquee movie theaters
No,
and
it was
everything?
just a regular, you know, just kind of looked like a room, you know.
Uh-huh. Do you remember any of the movies that you saw early days? Were they silent or?
Well, I don't know whether, I guess they were. I don't know. I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. Did you have family chores as a little girl besides picking cotton?
I don't think so. I think
You had to pick cotton.
I had to gather chicken eggs and stuff like that, you know.
She was telling us about that earlier.
Oh, about picking cotton.
At 5 years old, her dad told her to do it.
Did you have any pets? Like any of the chickens, were they yours or anything?
Yeah, I had this one. Well, no, that was when Linda was little. I had this. She had the pet chicken.
Named Zayla.
Zayla.
What is Zale?
And that was a cat. Her name. That chicken's name.
But what does that mean?
Who knows? It was her name. And she had this wagon, and she'd put old Zayla in this wagon, and she'd go round and round and round. And probably old Zayla would get so drunk, she'd just do like that, while she just fell out of the wagon and screamed.
That's pretty bad.
She was just a little girl, you know. And,
Did you get an allowance or anything as a little girl, or?
oh, I think we got a nickel or something like that on the weekend.
And what could you spend it on?
Anything we wanted, it was a nickel.
Was there like a general store or
Yeah,
what?
it was a city, you know.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Just candy or something?
Yeah, anything you want. I usually buy bananas with it because I love bananas, and you get 2 bananas. See.
Oh, really? That's funny. What was your favorite subjects in school when you were a little girl?
Oh, I liked arithmetic. I always liked arithmetic. I don't know why, but I guess that was kind of my favorite subject.
Were you, did you get good grades?
Yeah, I did in that. Not in everything. Because I never studied, you know. I just.
Were your parents very into school, or they didn't care?
Well, they saw that I went to school every day, yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, they weren't. Did you figure out how to do that?
I'll have to rewire it. I love to rewire
Oh,
stuff.
you have to rewire it? Is that what's wrong with it?
Well, if it needs a new,
Because it just, you can't
they can just
go any
replace
farther.
this part. I think I could just replace this part instead of
Okay.
rewiring it.
Well,
No, it
then-
won't work at all. I put that other one there.
She, poor Linda, she comes over here and she has to work on my electrical stuff, but she can fix anything I have here.
That's good. I should give you some stuff to fix.
Oh, okay.
She does. She can fix
I like to do
anything.
things like I like to fix things.
So,
Hey guys, y'all about ready? Like for mother's hunting for you.
so, they were, like, did your parents graduate from high school or college and all that stuff, or were they,
Elementary.
that's it?
They didn't graduate from elementary.
They didn't, but were they literate? Could they read and write?
Read and write, yeah.
Yeah. So, did you go to college?
Oh, yeah, I went to Lee College. No, I didn't go to college. The high school, that's what I went to, yeah. Well, I'm glad y'all came.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, did your older brothers or sister go to college?
No.
So, the first person in your family to go to college might have been Linda?
Me.
You. Wow.
Oh, no, I didn't go to college. Let's see, what did I go to? I finished high school. I don't think I ever went to college, though.
Because I know that my mom's always told me that, like, Papa was really insistent on the girls going to college and everything.
Yeah, that was like the young ones, you know, his kids that
Yeah.
like Linda and
Mhm. And he really wanted, Linda to be a chemist or whatever she was.
Linda was real smart, you know, and he knew she could do all this stuff, you know, and so that's why he maybe kind of pushed her a little. I don't know,
Mhm.
but she knew how to do it. She'd already learned a lot from her daddy,
Mhm.
watching him, you know.
I used to always like to see all his ham radio
Yeah.
things in the back. Those are always cool.
I used to go back there and try to invent things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to like to go in and put it around in the shop.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He made me this little generator connected to a motor on a ruler. It was pretty cool.
And what would it do?
I think it would just spin.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it did something.
Yeah. It did something. It was cool. I loved it.
He was always
And
being
the soldering
business and
iron. I was
something.
really into the soldering things back there.
Show him how to solder, you know, the
Yeah.
soldering iron and all that.
I remember watching him do ham radio to people, and he would be like talking to somebody in like Australia or somebody
Yeah.
somewhere,
Mhm.
That was always so neat.
I had all the people he called and everything, but I threw it all away, you know, when I moved.
Mhm.
But he made lots of contacts in foreign countries, you know.
Mhm.
But they just wouldn't let me bring everything. You know, they said, "Oh, you got to leave some of this stuff," you know.
Mhm.
So I leave it.
When you were in high school, did you do any school activities or participate in any like extracurricular stuff?
No, I think I went after I got out of high school. I went to work, you know.
Mhm. Where did you work?
Well, at that time I worked in a restaurant, and then from there I went to a drugstore.
What did you do in the restaurant? Were you a waitress or?
Yeah, a waitress.
And what kind of restaurant was it?
It was just a regular, it's everything.
Like a diner type
Yeah,
of thing?
diner.
And where was that in Bryan?
Yeah,
Is it still there?
I doubt it.
What was it called?
It was just called this restaurant. I don't think it had a name.
Uh-huh. Did you get to eat free food there?
Yeah, I did. I would, well, we, you know, everybody go home, we'd eat.
Uh-huh.
So,
Sounds pretty fun.
it was good food. I mean, we always had a good cook, you know.
Did your family ever come in and like visit you there and be like tease
Mama
you?
did, you know.
Uh-huh. And then what was the drugstore that you worked at?
It was called Leggett's.
And is that where you met Papaw?
Yeah, that's where I met Peppa.
And what did you do there? Just work behind the counter and
Well, when I first started out, I was working like soda in the soda fountain, you know, like
Mhm.
dipping ice cream up and making drinks and stuff like that.
Uh-huh. Is there in an old drugstore, is there like a pharmacist that runs it or who runs it?
Yeah, I guess it was. I guess he did sort of run it,
Mhm.
and he had a room in the back, and
Mhm.
he stayed back there.
So did you have to like make drugs or did he do that or
He did all of that.
he did all that?
Mhm. I didn't know how to mix anything. You know.
Uh-huh.
How about the first time you saw Papaw? You were
First
in
time I
that
saw
drugstore,
Papaw.
right?
Well, I saw him. Let's see. I think I was looking out the front, and he was walking. He'd been out to this beer joint across the street, and he was walking home where he lived. He lived about 2 blocks down from where I lived, you know. So I told this friend of mine that we were both looking out the front window. You know, they had big plate glass windows. And I told him, I said, his name was Charlie King. I said, "Hey, Charlie," he said, "that guy walking across the street there." "Yeah, I see him. What about him?" I said, "That's the guy I'm going to marry." He said, "Oh, yeah, I know how you're going to marry him, all right." He just laughed, you know. Well, guess what? I did.
So did he how did he start courting you? Did he just come by and start talking to you or
Well, he talked to me, and one day my boss told me, she said, "Why don't you want him to walk you home?" So she kind of started it, you know.
Uh-huh.
He said, "Yeah." And so he walked me home, but he just walked me to the porch and turned around and left. You know, I said, "Boy, that was real fast." You know?
you're expecting a little kiss?
I thought I was going to get at least a little kiss, you know.
Uh-huh.
You know what story I like is when he came in there and you ran into the stool and he said,
Oh, God,
"Tell him
yeah.
that one."
That was in the drugstore.
Yeah.
And we had these soda fountains. They were like stools that would just go round and around like that, you know. If you touched them, they'd go around. So anyway, somebody called and wanted somebody to talk to them on the phone that didn't have a phone, but their business was down the street. So I had to run down there and get them because that was the way we did things. So as I started out, I bumped into the darn stool, and when I did, it says, "Bling, bling, 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 bling," and around and around it going. Dad looked at me and he said, "Graceful as a cow, aren't you?" Boy, I could have killed him for saying that.
Did you know him very well at that time?
No, I didn't know him very well.
So did you think he was kind of a jerk for saying that?
Because I was kind of mad at him for saying it because I thought that was disrespectful, you know.
Yeah. Called you a cow.
Gave graceful as a cow, he said. Oh, well. That was Daddy for you, you know. He was.
So at that time, where were you living? In an apartment or?
I was living with my family, you know, at the end of the street. It was
Uh-huh.
probably about 2 blocks, maybe just a real big block.
So did Papaw have to meet your dad and?
No.
Nothing?
My dad was there. I don't know where my dad. I don't think he lived there. Wasn't back then. I don't know. Maybe he might have been still on the farm, I think.
Mm-hmm.
My mama lived there, see.
Did he have to talk to your mom and be like, oh, I want to take your daughter out on a date?
No, I just got with him out of the drugstore, and he walked me home, from the drugstore. And
Mm-hmm.
then he'd turn around and go home, and he like lived, well, it was a couple of blocks, I guess. It was a real big block where he lived, but it was on the same side of the street and everything.
What was the street called that the drugstore was on in your house and everything?
Oh, let's see, I don't remember now. I guess it was just called, I don't think we had names on those streets at that time. Probably did, but I don't remember.
So when he asked you to marry him, did your family approve or say anything, or they just like, okay, go have
I
it?
didn't know anything about it.
They didn't. It was just done.
We were going out, we'd go really watch all the other kids dance and things like that over across the water. We had to go across that body of water to get to this dance hall. And of course, he didn't dance, so I would be the only one that danced, and he'd just watch. So anyway,
You dance by yourself? Or
no,
with
I
other
danced
guys?
with the other boys that were there.
And what did Papa think when you were dancing
He'd
with
just
other
sit there and
boys?
drink his beer. He'd sit there on this bench and drink his beer.
Huh?
He didn't care. And so anyway, let's see, I lost my train of thought.
So you guys just got married one night and didn't tell your parents?
Yeah, well, see, you had to get in line to get on that ferry to go across the water to where I was both wanting to go, to the dance hall
And what city was this again?
in Pelly.
Pelly.
And so anyway, it was kind of there was a lot of people. Everybody got off at 8 o'clock, so we were quite a line there waiting. And so we sat there a while. So finally, Daddy looked over at me and he said, "Oh hell, let's just go get married." I looked at him. "Are you serious?" "Yeah, I'm serious." I didn't much believe him, So anyway, that's what we did. We went and he gathered his boss, I think, was there with him, and he was egging him on, because he liked me. He wanted Daddy to marry me,
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, he got those I think it was two or three of his friends to go with us, and we went over to Liberty. That was to the next city, that had a judge and all that. So we went in there, and they had to wake him up. I mean, this guy was asleep.
What time of night was it like?
Well, it must have been
10
about 10
o'clock?
o'clock, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, we went in there and got married, and so then we had to go talk to the preacher.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the preacher was the one that married us, so he lived in a little old house there, and I guess the porch was rotten because Daddy fell through the porch. Waiting for him. So we went in then, and he married us, and then we went home. We went from there. Well, he took me to my house, and he went to his house, and he went to work, and I spent the night at my house.
Did you tell your mom, like, I got married tonight?
No, I didn't say anything about it. She was over with my sisters.
Uh-huh.
So the next day, he drove me over there because it was a Sunday, and we just drove over there in his car. And he wanted to see my sister. He didn't think it was right that I got married. We didn't tell any of my folks things.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we did.
But they were happy about it, I guess, your family.
Well, they didn't say whether they were happy or not. I think they probably thought I was crazy. I don't know. He was kind of a wild guy,
Uh-huh. They didn't warn you about it beforehand? Like, you need to stay away from this wild guy?
They never said a word. I think probably glad I got married. They didn't worry about me then,
Uh-huh. Do you want a glass of water or anything, Memaw? I just didn't know if you're tired of talking.
No, I don't drink much water. I should, but I don't.
Yeah, that's what you need is to be
Oh,
dehydrated.
my God. I need to tell me about it. I need to do all these things I don't do.
And you're 96-year-old, and you got the right to do what you want.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find some other. Do you remember if you and Papa or anybody had any like songs that was like your song? I guess he didn't dance, so you probably didn't really.
We didn't have any song. We had a radio, we liked songs on the radio, but Not any that I can remember.
Y'all, yeah, I guess you probably weren't. Didn't have any. What about religion when you were growing up? Did you go to church?
We went to Catholic church.
And were your parents really strict about it, or like
No, they weren't real strict about it.
they were just kind of like whenever, whatever?
Well, we lived out of town, so like we lived about 5 or 6 miles out of town, so we had to either go in a buggy or you know, a wagon or something like that. So we didn't go very much.
Mm-hmm. Did you have like special church clothes and everything?
Yeah, I always had a nice dress to wear in church.
Mm-hmm. And what about Papa? Did he grow up in a religious family?
Papa going to church with us. I guess he did, but I don't think he did. I don't remember him going with us. Mama went, and my sister did,
Mm-hmm.
and I think my brothers did, but Daddy didn't go.
What about, did you have any childhood heroes? It's a question from this thing.
Well, no.
Do you remember, like, what was, like, the big news when you were little? Was there anything like the Lindbergh baby, or what, you know, like, what were, like, big events?
You know, not that I didn't take any interest in. I guess
I was probably on a farm that wasn't much news.
They didn't
Did y'all have a
TV.
newspaper even? Did y'all get a
we had
newspaper?
once a week.
Oh, really?
We called it Bryan Eagle, I believe was the name of it.
Uh-huh. And that was your only connection to the outside world, basically.
Yeah.
Such different than it is now. Do you remember any, like, wars? Did your dad go to war at all?
No, he didn't go to war, but
Your brothers?
no.
Did they just miss it?
We weren't having a war then, I think.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
We didn't have a war until after I got married, you know, and then I was scared to death that he was going to have to go to war, but
Was that World War II?
I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, 44.
Yeah.
Something like
Because you were born about the First World War time.
that.
What about when you were a little girl and y'all would have dinner? Did y'all eat dinner together as a family?
We always had dinner together at night, you know, had
Mhm.
a big table and 6 kids around it, and
And who did all the cooking? Your mom?
my sister,
Oh, your sister? Which, what was her name again?
Ann.
Ann. What did your mom do?
Well, she helped too, you know.
Uh-huh.
Ann did most of the cooking, you know.
And what kind of things did y'all eat?
Cornbread, milk, you know, we always ate that for supper.
Uh-huh.
Cornbread and milk. And then we always had just, you know, oatmeal for breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we had sandwiches or something for lunch. I don't remember what we had for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
Did you ever have to do cooking as you got older? Or help out in the kitchen?
Well, I probably did. I don't remember that. But I do remember that at noon, or well, whenever everybody got hungry, they'd send me home to make sandwiches for everybody. So I'd do that till one day I went there. We didn't lock the house or did we? Just left it open.
Mm-hmm.
So one day I went down to make sandwiches. I think I made about 2 when I heard the door in our bedroom. It was one that would drag. You know, it was too big a door for the.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard this door. I thought, oh my God, somebody's in this house. So boy, I left the sandwiches and everything. I just took off and went to the fields where Daddy was. You know, I told Daddy, I said, Daddy, somebody's in that house. And I was scared they'd kill me or something, you know. So he just threw everything down and went to check it out. But of course, they were gone by the time we got there. So
Did they steal anything?
no, I don't think so.
That
But that scared me to death.
mm-hmm.
I didn't want to go in that house anymore by myself.
Man.
Coward, you know.
Mm-hmm. Was your house, did it have, was it just like an old house that's on like pier and beams that had a crawl space underneath?
Well, it just had I think it had, I don't remember, it might have been on some kind of blocks. I don't know what kind of blocks or anything it was on. But it had a porch, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
bedrooms. And
Did you have your own room?
no, my sister and I had a shared room, and my brothers shared their room. There was, 3 or 4 of us shared their room.
Mm-hmm.
Mom and Daddy had their room. And then there was this big kitchen that went all the way across the house, from the house. So that's where we, see, you drink water, that's good for you.
Yeah.
And when y'all would, like at night, would y'all sit out on the porch and
Well,
Tell stories or
yes,
talk?
we
Or?
did. I don't really remember that. I remember looking up at the sky and seeing the stars, you know.
Mm-hmm. What about,
He's a good interviewer, isn't he?
I'm just reading questions from this sheet. What about holidays? Did you go visit extended family or anything, or did people come to your house? Or?
No, we didn't. We just kind of stayed home. Well, once in a while we'd go to Aunt Josie's or somebody like that, you know, and have dinner or something.
Did you go on any trips as a little girl, like out of town, like on
Not
vacation?
then, not until I was older.
Mm-hmm. And where does do you know where, what part of the country your mom and dad came from?
Well, Mama was from, I think, Bremont, and Daddy was too, probably. I don't really remember.
Is that in East Texas?
That's pretty close to Mahair and all those.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What about your grandparents? Do you remember them?
Yeah, I remember Grandma and Grandpa, uh-huh.
Is that your mom's or your dad's parents?
That was Mama and Dad's parents, I guess. I don't remember who went to what, you know, who went.
Mm-hmm. What was their names? Do you remember?
Well, let's see, Grandpa's name was, I don't remember what his name was. Grandma was we just called her Grandma, so I don't know.
Did you go there a lot and spend time with them, or no? Did they live in Bryan?
They lived in like Mahair and stuff like that. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, at that time they were living in Bryan, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they'd already gotten married and had kids, you know.
Let's see. So when you were naming your daughters, what made you name them those names?
Well, I don't know. I just thought of them and we just named them. You know?
Well, like, was there any like where did the name Linda come from? Was there any like?
Well, Linda, I loved this. Linda Darnell was the movie star that I loved. She was a little, young girl, you know, and so I just thought that was the prettiest name, so I named her Linda.
And what's Linda's middle name?
Gail.
Linda Gale.
Uh-huh.
And then what about Pam? Where does that name, Pamela?
Well, Pamela came from Helen Hensler. She said that a name she just loved. It was English, but it was Pamela.
Uh-huh.
And so I thought, that sounds cute. I think I'll name my little girl Pamela because
Who said that?
Helen Hensler, she was a friend of Helen Wallace's.
Oh.
And so she was Pamela, and then after Pamela came Kathy. Uh-huh.
Where'd that come from?
Well, Grandma Connor, she was didn't like it very much that I didn't name anybody after her, you know. So then we took.
That's your mom?
That's my mama's. That was my grandma, mama's side.
Uh-huh.
So then I took her grandma, her mama, and my mama's. I took both names and I named her both names.
Mm-hmm. Catherine Elizabeth.
Yeah. Yeah, she was Catherine Elizabeth. That was her name.
That's kind of British sounding too.
Uh-huh.
Very
Yeah.
British sounding.
Yeah. And that was the end of them. I didn't have any more kids, and that was it.
And then what about Papaw's name? Did you call him Ralph or RR or?
We just called him, I don't know what I called him. Nothing, I guess.
Because, like my mom was telling me how he hated his given name and wanted to be called Ralph.
Oh, you mean my dad,
Your
my
husband,
dad,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, he hated that Rufus,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what they named him, Rufus Roland Connor.
Mm-hmm.
He hated that Rufus because he knew somebody that was named Rufus. I think there was some blacks or something that worked on the farm there next to them, and they would laugh at him, and call him Rufus Rastus, some Brown. What you gonna do when the sun goes down or something? Jokes out of it.
Uh-huh.
He literally hated him. I think he'd whip him about once a week regularly,
So when you met him, was he already going by Ralph? Like the first time you met him, or was he still Rufus?
Yeah, he was Ralph, but we fixed that though before we got married, we changed his name over to Ralph
Uh-huh.
instead of that Rufus, because his dad's name was Rufus, and he hated that name, so we just changed it over to Ralph.
And did he not get along with his dad?
Oh no, he got along with his dad, but he just didn't want to be named after him.
Uh-huh. Where's his family from? Do you remember?
Madisonville.
Madisonville. Where's that? Like,
Well, that's between Bryan and Vista, I guess. And they're somewhere.
did you spend a lot of time with his mom and dad ever?
Mhm.
Not really.
Yeah. Just a lone little duck running around the yard playing.
What about Papaw's brothers and sisters? Did you know them very well?
Well, let's see. Did I know them very well? I knew their names, but as far as just we visited some, but I didn't know them all that well.
Yeah. So, like, my mom and Robbie's mom, like Pam and Kathy, they didn't really grow up knowing Papaw's family very much.
No,
No.
I don't think so. I don't know whether they remember them or not. See,
Uh-huh.
I doubt it. We got together sometimes on Christmas, I think, things like that. Maybe and had, but I don't know. I didn't know then that anybody was going to be asking me about them.
I think my mom was telling me something that Papaw's brother was a doctor or something like that.
Oh, he had two brothers that were doctors.
Oh, really? What kind of doctors do you remember?
I guess they were just general practitioners, probably. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see, Uncle Roland was a doctor, and then Uncle Paul was too. They were good doctors, They were from I guess they were I don't know where they were from, but it wasn't Madisonville. One of them might have been from Madisonville, but I don't know about the other one. Oh, one of them was from, let's see, some city way over, but I don't remember the name of it.
Do you know how long it was ago when Papaw's family changed their name from O'Connor to Connor?
Well, I don't think we ever changed our name. It was just Connor,
I thought he had told me that at one time it was O'Connor, like a long time ago, a generation
It probably
back.
was.
Yeah.
I don't remember him saying that,
Yeah. Are there any famous or infamous relatives in your family at all that you were told about?
Two doctors, in there, and let's see, they were from. I thought the place they were from, but now I've forgotten it. So it was a big city, where they were from.
And so is Papaw Irish, I guess?
He's Polish.
He is Polish?
We're Polish all the way through.
No, Papaw's 100% Irish.
You think so?
I know so. You're 100% Polish.
Well,
Connor, that's the Irish name, right?
It's an Irish name. I was told that he's 100% Irish and you're 100% Polish.
maybe that's right. I don't think I ever asked him. I wasn't. I just figured I was Polish. Because Mama was Polish, so was Daddy. See.
Yeah, you're Polish, so Papaw's not.
You got any questions, Robbie?
Well, we got some values questions over here.
Oh, yeah.
They're kind of off the beaten path. And it says,
Don't ask me anything I don't know.
well, there's no wrong answers here. It says, what are things you value most?
Well, I love my grandchildren, for
That's a
sure.
good answer.
Good answer.
And I love all my grandchildren. Just couldn't love them anymore. And I don't know. I valued my home and stuff like that. When after Daddy got a job, we got married. And he got a job. I was very happy then. But before he got a steady job, we had to live with my sister and his mother, and it was okay to live there, but it wasn't our home.
Mm-hmm. Was there tension, like?
No,
No.
we all got along good, but it's
Just hard.
Yeah, just hard. She didn't have enough room, and neither did my sister. We just had to sleep in a room with somebody else. So.
When you had Linda, was she an accident or was she planned? Like you really wanted to have a
I
baby?
think she was planned.
You were like, let's have a baby.
Couldn't wait to have a baby.
And what did Papaw, was he like, okay? Or was he like, yeah, I want to have a baby?
He never said yay or nay.
How about this? Let's see what it says. What things frighten you the most?
Oh, God, scared. Noises in the night would frighten me to death. You know, if I heard something in the next room or something, I'd get scared.
Rats.
Yeah, rats, anything that made a noise, you know.
Okay. Fair enough.
Mhm.
How about what things make you the happiest?
Well, seeing my kids, I guess.
Yeah.
I always loved my kids,
Family.
family. Uh-huh.
I got one. What accomplishments in life are you most proud of? You could say raising a good family.
Yeah, I raised a good family.
I think you did a great job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was always there for those kids, I'll tell you.
Being a very caring person.
Mm-hmm.
I think Pam, Kathy, and Linda are all very selfless, caring mothers. So
Yeah.
I wonder who they got that from.
Papaw. Just joking. So, which of your kids was the biggest troublemaker?
There you go.
They weren't.
None of them got in trouble in school or anything?
No, they were good kids.
None of who was the messiest as a little girl?
They were all three, or they were, I guess, they weren't what you'd call messy, but, you know, they just wouldn't put up their stuff, you know, little stuff they played with, you know, and
Mhm.
stuff like that. But as far as just being messy, they weren't really messy.
Mm-hmm.
But,
You never had to, Papaw never had to spank any of them?
no, I don't remember. He fussed at them if they didn't, you know, do the work.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Because I always remember Mom and Pam talking about Mama's puddings.
oh yeah.
Or
And
they-
they had that little thing that they said when they were little, you know, they,
Uh-huh.
if I put something down, then nobody would touch it till I picked it up again because that was Mama's puddings. And Daddy's puddings, you know.
Uh-huh.
We were the only ones that they were with the puddings is by like me and, you know, like the two youngest ones, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So, how much older is Linda than Pam?
Well, let's see, I guess she's about 6 years older.
Did they
Is she?
hang out? I think she is. Yeah. Did they hang out, or was it just like kind of Pam and Mom hanging out, and Linda was like too much older?
Well, you know, she didn't really fool with them very much when she was
Yeah.
like when she was a girl. She liked those Bond girls. They were older and she played with them. They were about much older than what my kids were, but she felt like, you know, they were bigger, you know,
Mm-hmm.
older.
Where was your house before the house on Tri-City Beach Road in Baytown?
Well, we lived in that old shack house that didn't have any paint or anything on it.
And what street was that on?
We didn't have any street names, just was out in the country, you know.
Well, didn't you live in a house in Baytown before Papaw built that house on Tri-City Beach Road?
Yeah.
And that's where the girls grew up, I guess, right? Mostly?
I don't think we had names on our streets then.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird.
How long did it take Papaw to build that house on Tri-City Beach Road?
It took him a while because, you know, there was nobody to help him. Well, he had a couple of friends that came over a couple of times and helped him. But,
Did you help, like, did you have a say-so, like, I want the kitchen to look like this, and I want this to be...
I haven't said a word.
No? What about you know, like, I want, you know, my closet to be... No? Nothing? It was just all him.
Well, just kind of, I guess maybe my sister, see, she probably had more say-so than I did because I was just a little turd, you know.
Mm-hmm. And what about Papaw's dogs?
Oh, God, the dogs.
What was the first dog that y'all had?
It was named Prince, I believe.
And did he have it before you met him, or did y'all get it together?
We got it later.
Uh-huh. And
Trying to think what the next one name
Big
was.
boy, yeah.
Big boy, yeah, we had Big Boy.
didn't y'all have a series of Big Boys and Billies,
Yeah,
maybe?
we had about 3 big boys, I think. Daddy named all of his dogs Big Boys.
Uh-huh.
And then, of course, they all got killed, you know, and then he'd get another one.
And I remember Billy too when I was little.
Billy was a cute little thing.
Mhm.
Oh, that Billy was a traitor though.
Why?
It was my dog, you know, because Daddy had 2 dogs. Chris, I believe, and something else. The other one was. So I felt so far for Billy, and I just took him to my heart, you know, and played with him and everything. So, boy, just as soon as Daddy started paying attention to those 2 dogs and didn't pay attention to Billy, he was gone. I mean, Billy just took to Daddy. I didn't have a dog. I didn't have nothing. Little rat, so you got here.
Traitor.
Yeah, I loved him and everything. And you want me to make some more coffee, Robby?
No, I'm just getting water.
Okay. And I don't know. He just, you know, but dogs, I guess, just love men better.
So what about all the like things Papa would grow in the backyard? Like what were all those fruits that he would grow in those trees?
Oh God, he had. Let's see, we had figs and pecans
Mhm.
and a whole bunch of pecan trees. I don't remember how many pecan trees, but those fig trees, the figs were about this big. They were wonderful.
Mhm.
And let's see what else. We had pears.
Mhm.
And
Did you ever have peaches?
yeah, I think we had peaches. Not too many peaches. I think peaches were a little hard to grow.
Mhm.
What else did we have? I think that's about it. We had this one plum tree though I think Daddy was to plant it in the yard. Oh God, it had the most wonderful peaches I ever tasted.
Mhm.
I'd give them to the neighbors if they'd come over, you know, and
Mhm.
give them some peaches. They were great big and so good and sweet. When we sold it, you know, I had left all those fruit trees there,
Mhm.
and didn't charge them anything for the trees. I could have, but I didn't.
Mhm. Didn't charge him for any of those mosquitoes back there either.
No, we had plenty of mosquitoes.
I always remember that.
Yeah,
Those mosquitoes would drive you crazy
Oh,
back
they
there.
drive you crazy. They would.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Paul.
I used to pray a lot.
Yeah, I pray every morning, every night.
That's what I used to do. But now I just pray mostly at night.
Really? What do you say?
Oh, say Our Father and Hail Mary, and I believe in God. It's just prayers I learned, you know, when I went to Catholic school. And we learned these prayers then.
Do you sorry. My brain is What do you go to church on Sundays?
I used to. I went to church till I moved away from Baytown, and you know, then there wasn't any place to go, and then of course my car broke down, and I didn't have a way of going without having to, you know, get somebody to take me. So I just quit going. And so it's been quite a while that I haven't been to church.
Did you have a bunch of friends at church?
Well, not many.
Yeah.
People in those days, they not anybody lived close together, so you just didn't, you know.
What are your favorite TV shows?
Well, let's see. I like Young and Restless a lot. I hate it when I miss it. And I just like all of them, you know.
How many years have you been watching Young and Restless?
Since it's been on, I guess.
Wow.
I don't know how long that's been.
Was Victor on that show when it originally started airing?
In fact, I remember when he was in Rat Patrol. That was when he was single, you know, and you see a picture of him every now and then when he was in Rat Patrol, and he's kind of rugged, you know. And that's how I remember him then. And then after he got older, he got a beard, you know, and all that. So he used to be kind of mean, you know.
What were your favorite movie stars growing up?
Well, I like Robert Taylor. He was a handsome dog. I like the handsome ones. I can't really remember any more of them.
Did Papa ever get jealous of other guys? Never?
Never did.
Did you ever give him cause to be jealous?
You mean your grandpa?
No, your
Yeah, my grandpa.
husband.
Your husband.
Maybe a little bit. Yeah, I think he did get a little bit jealous of me when
Mm-hmm.
if I talked to some other boys.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I can remember being little and being in the living room of your house with my mom and you and Papaw, and an Elvis show came on TV, and you were like, "Oh, I love Elvis," and my mom was like, "I hate Elvis."
Yeah,
And I still remember that. Like, you liked him, but Mom didn't.
Oh, I liked Elvis. I thought he was just gorgeous. He was gorgeous.
Most people back then weren't so approving of him, huh?
No, they didn't
A
like
lot
him
of the-
because he did that wild
Yeah.
dancing, you know. And
But you liked that.
I liked that. That didn't bother me a bit.
cutting edge.
Was Papaw tough on Mom and Pam and Linda when they were dating, like with boys? Would he be like scare the boys off or anything?
No, but he always, you know, they never really went out with boys too much when they were single, you know.
What about Hugh Gary, y'all's
Oh,
neighbor?
he was just a little boy, you know.
Uh-huh. Didn't he eat dinner with y'all every night?
Yeah.
And Papaw didn't care that there was a stranger over every night eating dinner?
We just didn't pay attention to that kid. He was just there. He was just a little boy, you know, that
Uh-huh.
didn't have anybody to play with, so he'd come over and play with Pam and Kathleen.
Was Hugh Carey was he gay?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember that.
I didn't know it, see, but Daddy told me one day, he said, that boy's gay. I said, oh, he's not? He says, he is too. You wait and see. Sure
He knew.
was. He could tell by the way he was acting after I thought about it, you know. And
Uh-huh.
as older, I realized he was because, you know, they do the
Yeah.
hands funny and
Yeah.
things like that, you know.
So who were Papaw's friends that he would pal around with?
Well, he didn't pal around with anyone because he was just working all the time.
Uh-huh. He didn't have any buddies that he'd go to have a drink with at the bar, or
No.
work buddies or anything? What was his TV business about? His repair business?
He just repaired TVs, you know.
How did people find out that he would do that?
They just word of mouth, you know.
Mhm. And so he would just, how did he learn how to repair
He
TVs?
just learned.
Uh-huh.
Papa was real smart, I'll tell you.
Uh-huh.
And he bought an old TV to learn how to work on them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how he started working on that old TV. He learned how to work on all of them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that was how that started.
And he would just go back into his shop and...
Had that little. He built him that little shop on the side of the house there, and
Mhm.
he'd go in and work, and we'd stay in the house and look at the other stuff, you know.
Uh-huh.
But he stayed there and worked by himself. And not a very good. It was kind of a lonely life, I guess. But
Did you ever tell him, like, you should stop working so much and come in here and spend time with us? Like, but I guess
No,
y'all needed
didn't,
money.
because he would have probably got mad at me for saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't ever say anything about it.
Mm-hmm. And you got good TVs always out of the bargain.
Yeah. Never had to go without TV.
Nope. Y'all had one of the first color TVs on the block, didn't you?
I think so. Yeah.
Didn't you have a brother that had a photography studio?
Yeah.
And
He made all those pictures that we have, you know.
which brother was he?
That was the oldest brother, Lewis.
And where was his photography studio? In Bryan?
Brian, on Main Street.
And so you guys would just come in there all the time and take really nice pictures.
Well, just when we'd have somebody come to town, you know, visiting, well, we'd usually go over there and he'd make our pictures, all of those pictures.
Was he married?
Yeah. I didn't figure it cost him anything, but he had to pay for everything. But, you know, it didn't occur to me that any of that stuff cost money.
Uh-huh.
But he
Well.
never said anything, so,
He probably didn't mind for his family.
yeah.
He probably kept copies for himself.
I used to go stay and spend a week with him, you know, some weekend, you know, I'd go to spend a week with him.
Uh-huh.
When they'd move, I'd always go move with them, and I'd help her scrub woodwork, and
Did you like his wife?
yeah, I liked her a lot. She was nice.
What was her name?
Betty.
Betty.
Uh-huh.
Did they have any kids?
Yeah. They had Sonny and and Shirley.
How much younger were they than you?
Well, they weren't younger than me. They were older. Well, I guess they were younger than me. I don't know how much younger though, because I was grown, I think, when they came along.
Mm-hmm. That sounds fun though.
Mm-hmm.
So, are there any of your relatives still alive from, like, your brothers' children or sisters'
No
children?
brothers. I don't have any brothers left, and I don't think any of his children are left.
Really?
Uh-uh.
Man.
I'm the only one that's.
Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah, I'm just the last of the Mohicans.
Hmm.
Do you know any jokes, Memaw? You don't know a single joke?
I was never a joke. I never told jokes, I don't know why.
I ever tell you about midget joke?
I don't think so.
Did you hear about the gay midget?
I don't think so.
Yeah, he came out of the cupboard.
I did.
Get it?
Oh, sweetie.
Hey, Memaw,
Uh-huh.
what do you call a nose that's not attached to a body?
Nosy nose?
Nobody knows.
Oh, no, I know. That's it, isn't it?
It's a nobody knows.
Yeah.